Welcome to Give Me 5 minutes with Fort Smith City Director Neil Martin. We were talking about the events that happened last week, and we look ahead at what's going on this week. So let's go ahead and get after it. Give me 5.
That was my 14-year-old daughter, Maylee, doing the intro tonight. So thank you, Maylee, for that. Last week, January 10th, we had a study session. 3 items on the agenda. Probably the one that generated the most attention was status of water leaks. And if you've watched Give Me 5 for any amount of time, you know that water leaks are one of my main frustrations. So we got an update, and we're going to do this quarterly. We've got a pretty large water system, about 726 miles of water mains going throughout the city. Now, probably the biggest issue we had based on some of our discussion is the freeze in December and the dry period this summer. So what that equaled is 43% increase in the number of water leaks reported in 2022 versus 2021, a significantly higher amount. So our crews, which we are shorthanded, that's one of the other items. We're shorthanded on crews working to resolve these leaks, and a higher number of leaks equals more leaks or less leaks getting fixed in terms of the overall percentage of leaks around. But it looks like about 816 total leaks were repaired in 2022. That's by city staff, and then we also have a contract with Forsgren to fix those leaks. We are shorthanded on the city side, like I mentioned earlier. We've got to get people that will do this work, and it's just been a challenge to get folks to be able to do it. So that's one of the things we're going to try to get done in 2023 is get more hiring. But there's a number of challenges. Supply chain is an issue, and just the kind of the weather that we've had, the dry period and then the extreme cold weather. But we're about 624 leaks now. That's what we are at today. And if we could go back to numbers that we had in 2021 with Forsgren and full city staff, we should be able to knock these out. The goal is to have around 25 to 50 leaks total, because we probably won't be able to get them all, but 25 to 50 leaks total is where we're at. We're at 624. So we'll get an update again in the first quarter of 2023, or after the first quarter of 2023, and I hope that we have significantly reduced that number again. Other item on the agenda was talking about neighborhood ward meetings. We do that every quarter, trying to find better ways to engage citizens in a better way, whether that be online. My suggestion is go where the people are. Don't ask them to come to you. Go where they're at. And so I think we're going to see some changes. Our first one, our Ward 1 neighborhood meeting, will be sometime in this first quarter. And I'll be excited to see how Director Rigo, what direction he wants to go. But we need better engagement, so we're trying to do that. On January 17th, we have our regular board meeting, and that's at the Blue Lion, 101 North 2nd Street in downtown Fort Smith. A number of things on the agenda. It's not a long agenda, but there's a number of things. One will be establishing pay rates for 2023 for the employees of the city of Fort Smith. So we'll be looking at that. We'll also be making a partial payment to McKee Utility Contractors. It's about $3 million for Basin 10 and Basin 14 capacity improvements. If you've driven by Martin Luther King Park and you saw those big, huge pipes, that is the work being done on Basin 10 and Basin 14. It's going to be going down North O, and it's going to go south at, I think, at 31st Street. So there's a little bit more to go with this, but that's about a $12 to $14 million project that is consent decree related. So you actually see some of the work that's related to the consent decree. We'll also be voting to authorize contracts for street overlays. So roads are going to get repaved. And then, as I mentioned in our study session that we had last week, we're going to be extending our contract with Forsgren for one more year, no additional cost, but one more year to help with water leaks. So again, I look forward to seeing the presentation after the first quarter of 2023, and hopefully we've decreased those leaks again from 624 to Hopefully less, maybe in the 400s, maybe 300s. But at the end of 2023, I'm hoping that we're down significantly. We cross our fingers on that. Another thing on our agenda is someone made a donation to the Fort Smith Police Department to give every employee at the police department $75 gift cards for restaurants around the city. So whoever you are, we thank you. We appreciate it. But that is such a nice thing to do. It's probably about $15,000 in gift cards throughout the city. So we do have some very kind and generous people around our city. That's what makes our city so great. So we'll be voting on that to approve that. We have to go through the legal avenues to make sure that we can do it. But I'm pretty confident we'll be approving that on Tuesday. That's just a few of the items on the agenda. I encourage you to go to fortsmithar.gov, hover over government, then click on Board of Directors meeting information. There you can see all the agenda items. You can watch any previous meeting or look at agendas for any previous meeting. That's it for this week's Give Me 5. I hope the information was informative and made you better aware of items in front of your Board of Directors. We'll meet again next week on Give Me 5.